by AfriSam. AfriSam, creating concrete possibilities.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8 FM. I'm chatting to Brandon Williams. Welcome, Brandon.
Evening, Graham. Evening, guys.
Brandon's one of these creative guys, and he runs a company called Creative Shop. They do mostly retail environments, but also residential. But we're going to learn from the retail environment and convert that thinking into some of our residential spaces. Brandon, you run a 2,000 square meter factory in Germiston. Where did it all start?
Graham, was in 2008. I was retrenched. It was quite a big year. It was quite a couple of milestone events that was happening in my life. And I decided that I'd take that leap to start my own business. And it's been a good journey since. Yeah,
you brave guys start a business in the worst sort of meltdown in history.
Choice, yeah,
well, it was only up from there.
Yes, absolutely. It's been pretty good. Yeah.
Brandon, you guys don't only offer a factory where you manufacture goods, etc., but you've got a full range of services from design through 3D printing and so on. So if a client comes to you and says, I need to do this space, you take them right through the process.
That's right. We offer a turnkey solution. So it'd be anything if a client comes to us and he's got an idea of what he wants for his retail environment. We could offer services from the design, the conceptualization. We could even print scaled models of an item that he'd require for his environment. Not necessarily just retail. If it's a custom piece of furniture, we could offer that service for that as well. With dedicated carpentry, drywalling, steelworks divisions. So,
okay. Really exciting that's happening tonight. We sent out a challenge to one of our favorite SA musos, naming James, to write a rock song about Josie. Now, what we want to do is get you to give us what you would like to have in this song. So we're talking about memories that you have from your youth. Like, would you like to... We definitely need to have 2 a.m. chicken from Fontana in the song somewhere. We need to have Bella Napoli.
So, Kay, why don't you sort of narrow this down a bit to spaces or places or streets or whatever?
Well, it's all these
because
things.
It could be beer.
No, we're not talking about beer, okay? We're talking about places and spaces of your memories. So clubs you went to, bars you went to, the street. I mean, are we going to talk about Pretoria Street in Hillbrow? Because I know everybody was in that street at some stage in their youth. So if you can tell us the things that you would like to have sung about on this in the song, then that's what we want to do.
Okay, Kay, so how do you win the ice cream?
How do you win the ice cream? Well, we're going to randomly select the best suggestions, things we really want to have in this song.
And the ice cream comes in its own box, its own, like it's a really cool little cooler box.
Yes, you can put beer in it afterwards.
And it'll be delivered to wherever you are.
Yeah, so SMS us on 41348 if you want to participate in the writing of the coolest rock song ever to be written about Joburg, and if you want to win some ice cream. 41348.
We're talking about spaces, how we use spaces, and so on. We used the fancy term ergonomics before the break, but let's look at the human form and how we use space when designing, whether it's a retail environment or residential environment. Brandon, are there standard sort of heights and widths and the heights of a chair and so on that you need to work with?
Absolutely. If we didn't work with certain standards on desk heights or service counter heights, you'd find that the staff would be complaining about backache and pains, and so the standards are set for the well-being of the people who work in those environments. To mention just a couple of basic examples, a standard desk height would be 750 millimeters. A reception counter, a two-tier reception counter would have 2 variable heights. The height of exchange where your client would be engaging with the receptionist, and the one end that would be significantly higher, maybe 1.1 meters, and then your receptionist would have a work countertop, also preferably at 750. So there is definitely standards set for furniture.
Now, in a new building, you find that the architect's probably going to deal with most of those specifications. But in your realm, you're going into an existing space and designing these different levels and heights and so on. So you're working off of various standards. But obviously they're flexible, and you and I are quite tall.
Yeah.
So we would prefer counters to be a bit
higher.
a bit higher.
Yeah.
But you've got to work with the norm.
I think that they work on an average basis, so they'll take the 50 percentile on the highest and the shortest, and they'll work on an average. Let's say they come to the sum on the standards that's been set out as an industry standard.
If you're looking at a retail space, a retail environment, you obviously got to consider merchandising. I mean, it's a space because it's selling merchandise.
Yes.
And again, you would have to look at things like eye level.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got fast-moving products, do you put them at eye level?
Yeah.
What is the eye level? Do you remember offhand, or is that stretching it a bit?
Look, I think it would kind of vary on your retail environment as well. I mentioned to you early on, if you look at the likes of certain Pick and Pays, they've got quite a large, significant floor area, so they can get away with having larger gondola systems or display systems. I mean, some of the stores go up to 2.1 meters, but with that, they'd have the correct ratio. So your aisle spacing could be significantly larger. You could easily squeeze 3 trolleys into that aisle spacing that they allocate, which would be anything from 1.5 to 1.8 meters.
Brandon, this is the fun part now, lighting. And when we're looking in retail environments, and we were talking about hotels in the break and so on, you can make things happen with lights. So let's have a bit of a laugh first, okay? What do they do in the lifts?
You'll find in certain hotels they'll actually incorporate mirrors with a gold hue. You find that the gold helps soften your complexion, so people generally feel they look better in something with a gold tint.
And the light above the vanity is a warm light, not a white light.
Well, in vanities, I mean, generally speaking, if for ladies applying makeup, they'd prefer a cleaner white light. It gives you a more realistic kind of perception of what you actually look like.
We don't want that.
Yeah. So the mirror that you're walking out of the hotel room, then it's got a sort of a more warm light. You think, I'm looking a lot better.
That's right.
Must have been the makeup.
I've changed all my mirrors to gold tinted home. So.
Okay. So we're talking retail here.
Yeah.
If you're in a retail environment and you're selling jewelry or you're selling tires, obviously you're going to use different lighting. So let's start with luxury goods.
Okay, well, I mean, look, I think we all know that lighting levels and color affect our moods, and mood ultimately affects our behavior. So anything with warm lights creates more of a relaxing and intimate setting. You want to, sporting goods as an example, you'd use bright light, you feel more energetic, you'd feel more alive. So in a jewelry kind of setting, I think something a little more kind of relaxed environment, you'd find that you'd have a lot more warm lighting, a little bit more kind of downplayed.
I've been into a couple of jewelry stores where you can hardly see. The cabinets are well lit and whatever, but it's a very sort of intimate, almost foyer.
They're really trying to get your money there.
Yeah. I've been into the cheaper ones, but they can't afford good lighting. Okay, and if you're in an environment like a chemist, and this is something that you guys do a lot of, where I guess the lighting needs to be functional. I'm looking for some eye drops or something. I don't need low lighting and so on. Who deals with that when you're designing the space? Do you design the lighting, or do you use experts?
No, we've got a couple of consultants that we'll deal with. There's numerous software packages out there as well. Can also calculate the lux levels and the amount of lighting that's required for that particular industry. There's also a standard set for that. We do everything on pen and paper first and make sure that we're meeting those minimum requirements. In a pharmacy environment, they are quite particular. There's quite a lot of different criteria, not necessarily just about lighting, but generally the layout and your dispensary counts and the security that's involved with that. So, we do quite a bit of research, and if it goes outside of our scope of responsibilities, we do consult with the specialists.
Brandon, you could land up the drummer of this Joburg song.
Jazzy band, awesome.
Yeah, that Naming James is going to come up with.
Yeah, well, we're going to be singing about pub crawling at the Randburg waterfront. Does anyone remember the waterfront arms? Or maybe you're too embarrassed to say you remember.
Does the Randburg waterfront count?
Yes, it does. There was a jewel there. And
does Dairy Den count?
No, you can't drink at Dairy Den, really. 206 Nuebueta, and the radium, of course, has to
The radium.
feature because it's still going and it's still an amazing jewel. So just, you've got a few more minutes to infuse your lyrics into the song that we're naming James will be writing. SMS us on 41348.
It's okay, confirm. The ice cream tubs, there are 5 of them.
Yes.
They come in this really great cooler box.
Yes.
And you're going to pick a few listeners just now and it'll be delivered to your doorstep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, but I've got to tell you, Rob from Edenvale reckons we should just leave Brackpan out of the song. Just a suggestion.
At least Simon
Nice
thinks
one.
that's funny.
He says he's a mercenary lead guitar. So if we need one of those, he's in. And he's reminding us about Mama's Pizza in Rocky Street, which is definitely legendary, as this radio station is. It's been so hard to choose a winner, so we've vaguely randomly done it. Obviously Johan, because you're such an amazing poet, and Trevor, who worked at Dillon's in 1988. I'm not sure if I remember you, Trevor, but that was just that time of our lives. And Chantal for reminding us of the friendliness of people in Joburg. So we're going to call you guys tomorrow just to get your address so we can deliver this amazing ice cream called Mortar to you.
And next week we'll give away a whole lot more of this ice cream. And once you've had it, we'll phone you and chat to you
And
about
hopefully,
how good it is.
Hopefully Naming James is going to get on this, and I'll be able to give you a little bit of a sort of heads up on how the song's going. And
Yep.
well done for everyone's
And
contribution.
thanks to our potential drummer on this band that's going to do the Joburg song, Brandon Williams, my guest this evening. Thanks for coming to chat to us.
Thank you. Thanks very
And
much.
to our team in the studio, Simon on the desk, thanks so much. Kay, that looks after all of us, and Non Klantla, who manages the show. Thanks for listening in. We do this every Wednesday between 6 and 7. Up next is not Adam Ford. Simon's staying on board and is going to play some amazing music like he did a couple of weeks
I
ago.
hope so, yeah.
So we'll catch you next Wednesday. Thank you. Ciao.
Your home with BuildAid on Mix brings you all sorts of interesting info about building. Graham Alexander chats to different guests every Wednesday evening between 6 and 7. Proudly brought to you by AfriSam. AfriSam, creating concrete possibilities.